All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are talking Monique, y'all. Monique sat down with Club Shay Shay in Club Shay Shay. Let me just say she sat down in Club Shay Shay and she did an interview with Shannon Sharp on yesterday. And honey, she set the internet ablaze. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I think people are split down the middle regarding her delivery, the way that she approaches her experiences with said individuals. And what I mean by that, the likes of an Oprah Winfrey, D.L. Hughley, Kevin Hart, Tyler Perry, just to name a few. Just to name a few. Overall, I thought Shannon Sharp did an excellent job. He did an excellent job as an interviewer in this interview. He's a natural in my opinion, and I feel like he's going to get better and better and better. He did a really good job of accommodating her, but yet asking the right questions to kind of massage the dialogue to keep her going and open. Now, where do I want to go with this? I was torn at first. The first 40 to 45 minutes of the interview, I almost checked out. I almost checked out. Actually, let me be honest with you. As a matter of fact, I did check out. I was like, I can't do it. I could not follow Monique. She wasn't palatable for me. Now, listen, follow me closely. I'm saying the first 45 minutes of the interview. Okay. I just couldn't. It was very hard for me to follow her because I feel like the person that we met during the first 45 minutes was the actress, Monique. I feel like she came with some talking points in her head. She came with an agenda for the first 45 minutes and she wanted to get right to it. And I was right because I'm glad I came back to the interview today because it took her some time, in my opinion, to thaw out in a way that I could digest her. And I'm glad she did because the first 45 minutes, I was like, no, I can't. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this delivery. She seems to be very aggressive. Now, the reason why I said I came back because later on in the interview, she did admit that she's aggressive. She has a very aggressive approach and she's a fighter. So I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better about what I felt like I was picking up from her. She looked great. She looked great. I really like the aesthetics. I like the outfit. I like the hair and all of that. But Monique is a hard pill to swallow. Monique is a hard pill to swallow, but the truth of the matter is she knows she's a hard pill to swallow and she's not coming up off the gas anytime soon. What are your thoughts? I want to talk about it. So let's jump in. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, well, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television. But most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
I got to keep it real with you. I'm going to share with you what I feel like I came out with the first half of the interview. Now, you got to remember that I'm talking about the first half. I wasn't sold on Monique the first half. But when I came back today, I had to give myself permission to get out of my own head. And there's a couple of things that stood out to me. Monique, Tyler Perry, and Oprah Winfrey all have a history of childhood trauma by way of sexual abuse and or physical abuse. All three of them. That's the commonality that they have. Okay. If we talk about from childhood and we're building a building block, okay, I think all three possess a bit of narcissistic qualities and traits. However, that is necessary to survive. When you start to get or shift into the spectrum where it becomes a little bit abnormal is when you start to mistreat people. Okay. You start to mistreat people. You start to develop a godlike complex. And also, you cannot come out of you and be empathetic with others. Now, Tyler Perry appears to do a really good job with that by way of his philanthropic efforts within the community, his donations, his financial contributions. He appears to do a really good job on the outside looking in. Oprah as well appears to do a really good job with that on the outside looking in, and so does Monique. So there's a lot of commonalities by way of what they pour back through the community financially and or by acts of service. And Monique I'm going to say hers is more of a delivery, a message, taking on the role of advocacy on the behalf of Black women. Or at least that's the role I feel like she's assigned to herself. Now, I feel like Monique, Tyler Perry, and Oprah in some ways have predatory like tendencies, both seen and unseen. Are you following me? All three of them, predatory like. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not necessarily talking about mistreating someone sexually. I'm just saying predatory like. And when we think about some of the stories we've heard about Oprah recently, mistreating Black women. Here recently, Taraji P. Henson, and even though Taraji has yet to verbally acknowledge that, people, come on, people have assumed that by way of her body language, her spirit seemed to have taken a hit by working with Oprah, not being treated well. Monique has had verbal confessions of not being treated well by Oprah. And then we have Monique talking about Tyler Perry, so on, so on, so on. And also the rumors of the stuff that people are claiming allegedly that has happened in Africa. And they believe that Oprah did not treat those girls or those children very well. So one thing I do know is with childhood trauma, when kids are preyed upon, if they do not receive extensive therapeutic alliance with the provider, with the mental health provider, while they are still children, they often grow up to become predators themselves by one way or the other. Okay. Now, I know some people would probably say, oh, I'm sure Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Monique have worked with a therapist. Yeah, in adulthood. But the question is, did they work with a therapist as children to be able to intercept some of these ugly and nasty behaviors that are being whispered about all of them? Okay. So I believe they have a lot in common, and I believe they're preying on each other by way of bad behavior. That's what I was able to pick up. Monique has her experience with Oprah. Other people has her experience with Oprah. Oprah went behind Monique's back and said something in private as opposed to what she said to Monique publicly. Tyler Perry, same thing. So I believe they're all preying on each other. I do believe when I started watching this interview, the first thought that came to my mind is Monique seems to be stuck in a matrix, I'm sorry. And she's going to have to find a way to allow the hurt and the pain go. You have to let it go. And I know sometimes throughout the interview, they were saying you really can't tell a person how to heal. No, you can't tell them how to heal, but you damn well could and should encourage them to move past the hurt while healing. Okay. I get it. I get the hurt, the pain. I get the reaction to feeling like somebody has taken advantage of you and you feel like you deserve justice by way of apology, justice by way of a financial settlement from Tyler Perry in particular. But it's festering, Monique. And when you are not consciously engaging with yourself in a way that that you are trying to monitor it, it comes across really, really aggressive. It comes across like you're harboring a lot of resentment. Okay. And I wonder, let me just say I wonder if there's some blockage there between the rejection, the hurt, the pain that she feels that she received from Oprah and Tyler. I wonder if there's some blockage, and I also wonder if there's some type of subconscious connection to being treated wrong in her childhood. That's my first thoughts. But look, before I jump into it, child, what liquor was that they were drinking? Because Monique said, the ladies, this will get you right. And I was like, what is that? So y'all, what kind of liquor was that? Listen, liquor people, I'll definitely take a sponsorship. I'll try it on air. I don't even drink liquor like that, but the way she sold it, I was sold. Hell, I was like, I need to try that. When Monique brought up she got the interview started. He asked her about how she was as a little girl. When she brought up idolizing Oprah, I knew she was on some get back type of energy. I knew she was on some get back type of energy. And this was at the beginning of the interview. And this is the part where I said, this is where we were meeting the actress. I didn't know. See, actors and actresses, they have a hell of an imagination and they have a hell of a memory. So they can retain information and store information probably better than the average person. Memorizing lines, and some of this, I feel like, okay, she's memorized what she's going to say. It didn't quite connect immediately with me. Um, on an emotional level. Later on, she did in the interview, but I believe that was when she had a couple of shots. She allowed herself just to be Monique and come out of the script that was in her head about being hurt, her story to tell. She's not going to let it go. So when she brought up idolizing Oprah, I knew immediately, I said, baby, she's on some get back type of energy. And she had an agenda initially. She came in, if you pay very close attention to the interview, she came in with an agenda and she used that moment to introduce the players that she's been harboring resentment towards. And the players, primarily Oprah, Tyler Perry, D.L. Hughley, and I must say, passively, Kevin Hart. I'm going to say she didn't go in too hard on him, but I feel like she felt some kind of way. Now, with Oprah, I'm going to say this. I feel like she felt betrayed by Oprah, not only with the promo thing for the movie, but also with Oprah not giving her all information up front about what family members that Oprah would be interviewing so that Monique could say yay or nay. She talked about Oprah interviewing her brother who molested her as a child, sexually abused her as a child. But she said Oprah called to say, "Hey, listen, here's what's going on. Your brother want to come on the show. He wants to apologize to you, blah, blah, blah." Monique said, "No problem." She said what Oprah failed to tell her is that I'm also going to be interviewing your mother, I believe her grandfather, and maybe her dad. Okay. And she felt some kind of way because she did not feel like that would have been a good look for her mom. And even though she and her mom do not have a solid, healthy relationship, she still would have liked Oprah to have given her the courtesy. I understand that. That's perfectly understandable. I understand that. But on the flip side, Monique, I want to challenge you to remember none of these people are your friends. I've said it before. I'll say it again. These are people that you work with, you all. These are people that are getting it, just like you're getting it. And you have to keep in mind when you go to work, yes, you're going to have some high moments with people and it feels friendly and it feels good. But at the end of the day, these people are not your friends. Um, I'm not saying Oprah was right or wrong. I'm not saying Monique was right or wrong, but I think Monique may have convoluted the relationship a little bit and had a little bit more expectation from the likes of an Oprah Winfrey. Was it wrong for Oprah? Mm, to interview Monique's family? I'm not going to say it was wrong. I'm going to say if your intentions were well, it would have been nice to give her a heads up. Y'all, that's what we call a courtesy, but don't expect it from people. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing, she talked about Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry made up lies on her being difficult as talent. And as a result, she was blackballed. That impacted her financially. Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. And she has not forgiven Oprah, nor has she forgiven Tyler Perry for what she perceives they have done to her career. Okay. And she said at one point, Tyler Perry was willing to speak with her, but under the demands of, I don't want your husband in the room. And her husband is her manager. Now, what do y'all feel about that? Do you feel like when a business person such as Tyler Perry, let's just say your boss, your CEO, um, you know what? No, let's keep it to the entertainment industry. If someone is just wanting to meet with the talent only, is that okay? Is that okay? Do you feel like actors and actresses, singers take their management team to every single meeting? Do you feel like Tyler Perry was attempting to take advantage of the situation for whatever reason he felt like he could not deal with Monique's husband, even though that was her manager? Now, Monique, here's the thing. You're going to have to keep the main thing the main thing. In business, he is your manager. You cannot utilize the technicality of that's my husband. That's your manager. Two, you see how the lines it could become very tricky and very blurred lines. Because did Tyler Perry say, I don't want your husband in the room? Or did he say, I really don't work well with your manager? Because when Monique tells the story, what she's saying is, he didn't want my husband in the room. I think you're better off saying he didn't want my manager in the room, who happens to be my husband. Y'all, this is a tricky one. This is a really tricky one. But what are your thoughts? So Tyler Perry was at one point was willing to meet with her under two circumstances. Number one, your manager cannot be there. And number two, I need you to apologize to me, Monique, for recording me without my permission and utilizing it to smear my name. In your opinion, y'all, are they like Monique? Man, this is a tricky one because Monique said he lied on me. He lied on me. He admitted that he made it up. And guess what? Gotcha. I recorded him. What are your thoughts on the whole saga? Did she have a right to record him to utilize it against him later? Should she not have recorded him? Do they both owe each other an apology? What should she come to expect from him? Or should she let it go? It's been over a decade. What are your thoughts? If I had to guess, based on some of the questions that Shay, asked Monique, I would say Monique is still struggling and may still have some challenges with dealing with her childhood. And here's what I mean by that. Shannon asked her, what was she like as a little girl? And she couldn't answer it directly, in my opinion. And she reverted to redirecting and shifting the conversation to external players, okay? She was saying folks ain't never liked her, and it started from childhood, and she's still experiencing people not liking her in adulthood. That still, in my opinion, did not describe you as a child and what your childhood was like. You didn't give us any detailed information outside of resistance. She didn't say anything. And that leads me to believe, wow, maybe the childhood, either she blocked some things out or it's just too tough and too hard for her to talk about it. I picked up on that. Okay. Monique, in my opinion, I watched and I listened and I watched. Monique is a clever genius, but she's also disruptive and she's very sly. Is that right? Is it wrong? No. You it's not right, it's not wrong as long as you understand what you're up against when you're dealing with the persona and the likes of a Monique. Now, in my opinion, Monique is very sly. A lot of these attributes could be utilized in a positive manner for her to capitalize off of if she had the right people in her ear. Now, I'm not going to say her husband is not the right person, but I believe he's probably the only person that she would subdue to and pause and be open to receiving any critique, criticism, praise, acknowledgement, recommendations from. I believe Monique would make an excellent, send this to her. Monique, here's what you do. I believe you would make an excellent talent manager, but you can't do it under your name, under the guise of Monique. I think you should become a covert talent manager. And the business, the corporation, the LLC, all of that, they all fall under you, but you have this fictitious name or this fictitious umbrella that's the arching theme, like the overarching theme of the talent management company. She's so knowledgeable. I learned so much about her when she shared her experience in the Hollywood, the things she didn't know then, but she now knows now. And listen, ain't nobody looking out for these young folks that are coming in. But a talent manager like you, Monique, man, you could help them with contracts. You can really get people set up for success. Now, because you have a bad reputation, a lot of people would not sign your talent, but they don't have to know it's you. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And that's what I mean by sly. Use your slyness to work for you as opposed to attacking others. And we still don't know what she was like as a child. And it kind of reminds me of Martell when I interviewed him and I asked him, "Who are you?" He talked about everything else, everybody else except himself. And Monique, in my opinion, Monique has an elevated sense of righteousness. And I'm not sure what that means to her, but it seems like she digs her heels in deep. And when she makes up her mind that she's right about something, period, point blank, it is what it is. It's her way or the highway. That's what I picked up from her. She's not willing to bend. She's not willing to compromise. It's going to be this way or no way at all. And she said she likes to fight. And she said, listen, a lot of y'all are lucky that my husband is my manager because you would get it. And she served some high profile people a lot of correction and have slapped their hands in meetings with higher ups. Monique, people don't like that. People don't like that. And I know a lot of people are saying what she's saying is right. It is right. What she's saying is right, but right will get you alienated. Right will get you blackball. Being right, you got to have a strategy. And I think that's what she's missing. She's dogmatic in her approach, but she's right. And if she could just succumb and pause and adapt and adopt a little bit of gentleness, she could win. But I do believe sometimes you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. I think she's comfortable with who she is. She's sold on her approach, and I don't think she's going to change it anytime soon. And because of that, Monique, people cannot stomach you. I'm going to just say it. They're afraid of you. And when people are afraid of you, they tend to shut doors and run from you. And I think that's what's happening by way of being blackballed and ostracized because you could have done it better, in my opinion. Not saying that she's wrong to do anything, but there's always ways. There's always ways to get what you need and what you want, in my opinion. What are your thoughts? I also think that Monique set the rules. If you're going to be dealing with Monique, she sets the rules. But the rules also change, in my opinion, depending on the players. I believe she was looking to create a moment initially. When this interview started off, I said, oh shit, Monique is coming in. She's going to create a moment. She's trying to go viral. But she settled in. Once we got out of that 40 to 45 minute introduction, she began to settle in into being comfortable with herself. Because when she first came in, immediately I felt like, damn, she's lecturing Shannon. It felt luxury. It felt very pointed and strategic. What are your thoughts for the first half of the interview? Okay, but listen, at the same time, while Monique, you can have a knee jerk reaction to Monique, there's moments where there's this brutal and blatant honesty, and you have no choice but to empathize. I can see why she won an Oscar. Was it an Oscar? Yeah. I can see why she won it because she has the ability to jerk you around as an audience and takes you where she wants you to go. Because, honey, she started me off like on a roller coaster, right? At the top. Imagine being on a roller coaster and you're up at the top and then she drops you all the way. Like, and you just boom, and your stomach falls, and your heart falls through your stomach because she's such a burst of energy. And you're like, whoa, I want off. But then she eases you into these crooks and these turns and these smooth moments that I stayed tuned into the interview. So I said, man, she's a hell of an actress. But at the same time, her strengths are also her weaknesses. Prior to this interview, I've never been able to get with Monique as a woman. It was just something there that for me that felt a little bit different, a little bit more aggressive than normal, a little bit more dominant than usual. And now that she was able to share that she was molested and sexually abused as a child, so now she's like, nigga nuck if you buck. And maybe that's some of that energy that I would pick up from her. I really wish she could find her balance. And I don't even want to call it balance. I really wish she began to feel a little bit more safe in her dealings with people. And she recognizes subconsciously that I don't have to protect that little girl anymore that was taken care of. Because if she can shift out of that protective mode, because she said, listen, I'm the type where I'm going to tell you where I am. This is what she said. I've been abused. I've been taken advantage of. And if I sense that I feel like you are going to do something to me, you're going to try to mistreat me, I'm going to attack you first before I let you attack me. I'm going to fight with you first. And I wish I really hope that she's able to overcome that, because when she's in her soft girl era, it's beautiful to hear her talk. It's beautiful to hear her recant her experiences, you know. Otherwise, there's a huge disconnect, and it can be a disconnect for me as a woman. Sometimes when I have heard her speak and talk in the past, I think Monique is somewhat male identified. I do, and that's neither here nor there. But I also picked up on that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like, Monique seems to have the best intent for Black women, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I don't know if that's genuine, or I don't know if she knows it's an opportunity and a place that she can kind of put herself in, because there's not a lot of strong Black women that are willing to stand in the gap for others. So I don't know. I wonder, I couldn't help but to wonder, because of the visceral that she has for Oprah, I couldn't help but to wonder. I said, I wonder if an older Black woman was mean to her as a child, because she's carrying something, y'all. Monique is heavy to the spirit, and she may have developed a bit of paranoia towards other people. Okay? She's a grudge holder. She said it. She's a grudge holder. And I feel like she has a lot buried deep down inside. And when you have that much inside of you, it's imperative that you get it out by way of physical activity, work. So she needs to work as an actress, because that allows her to go into character and be a hero and a savior for herself. So I would like to see her work, or I would like to see her take my idea and establish and develop her own talent corporation, her own talent management company, and nobody knows that it belongs to her. Monique is a sponge to me, in my opinion. She absorbs every wrong that people do to her, even if you've done right. The wrong seems to stand out the most, okay? And she's not going to be able to let it go easily. She said that. She says, Tyler, look, Oprah, look, I've been talking about you for a decade. And that's the part that I feel like is holding her back, because the wrong that she feels like have been done to her is overshadowing. You put more energy into them than you are your own craft. You know what I'm saying? When you doing business, when she talked about doing business with Kevin Hart, why in the hell are you talking about Tyler Perry? If you could have just fucking focused on you and Kevin and got to the business that would have paid you and Kevin, Monique, you can't keep carrying those bags into these new relationships, because they're not anticipating you to arrive with that level of luggage, and they don't know what to do with it. And the safest thing for them to do is to back out of business with you. And I think that's what happened between you and Kevin Hart. I think you begin to pressure him and maybe bully him a little bit into helping you, making it right with Tyler and Oprah. And that's not fair to the new person that really wants to work with you. And it sounds like you did the same thing with T.S. Madison. However, T.S. Madison had a very solid relationship with Lee Daniels. And because T.S. Madison wanted to do the right thing, she picked up the phone, called Lee, and you all were able to have a decent conversation, move forward, and evolve as a collaborative pair. But it's not fair, Monique. That's what I'm saying. When people say you got to let it go, if you choose to carry that luggage, that's on you. But as far as your dealings with other people, leave it at the door because they don't have a luggage rack for you. And you're going to scare them away because they want to deal with you and not your issues and your problems in Hollywood. Does that make sense, y'all? And I think she felt some kind of way because Kevin Hart was willing to work with you, okay? But it's not up to him to fix it for you. And I think Monique is wanting and needing folks to utilize their power and their platforms to make connections with people whom have wronged her in the past. That can be a bit convoluted. That's a big ass ask, Monique, because unfortunately you're the underdog. You're not really bringing a lot to the table. And when you're the underdog, build a little bit of credibility, pour in some deposits in those relationships, establish a level of trust, get them there, warm them up, and then ask. But yeah, I do believe Monique is a sponge. She absorbs everything. But Monique, I want you to start, if you can, absorb the good because there's some good energy. There's some good man. uh, the second half of the interview was so compelling. I was sold. I was completely sold. Yeah. Look, she tore DL's ass alive. She handed him his ass, and she needed to because DL Hughley has said some very cryptic and nasty things about Black women. Do y'all remember when he made the comment about the basketball team? I cannot remember the name of the team. It was a college basketball team, and he called those Black girls some nappy headed bitches. So DL, with the exception of Monique talking about your child, every ounce of an ass whooping that she's giving you verbally, you've earned because you haven't been too keen on showing decency and respect to Black women. Okay, so you deserved all of that. And Monique, that's the type of person that you stand on business with. With the other ones, you still stand on business, but you consider the cost and you do it with strategy, precision, and you do it with sharp execution. You've been going on and on and on and on and on, and it's a bit obsessive compulsive when it comes to Tyler Perry and Oprah. You got to figure out a different way. You got to figure out a different way. That's all I'm saying when it comes to that. DL, also, Monique, don't be too hard on Kevin Hart because he was there when you needed him financially. When you needed him financially, he made sure you was good. Now, he can't give you everything, but when you needed him the most, he made sure you was good. So don't shit on that brother. You know, even though Cat Williams may have called him a gatekeeper, all of that, shit, when you needed him, he kept your gate. Okay. He made sure money was pouring into your household. So let's not do that. I really hate to see her burn bridges when she feels some kind of way. And I don't know if that's that Sagittarius thing. Cause I had to pull up Wikipedia. I was like, let me see what her sign is. Cause she got a lock and a bite like a pit bull, you know? And I really want to see the other side of you that I saw in the second half of the interview. Monique said that she's being turned down for jobs. People don't want to work with her. And she says it's because she's the big fat Black woman. I disagree. And she said it's the messenger. It is the messenger, but not, okay. It's because it's the messenger, but not because you're fat. Okay. I don't think it's because you're fat and heavy and all of that. It's the venom that comes with the bite. It's the lockjaw, the execution. And Monique, people scared of you because they don't know what the rules are, the rules of engagement when it comes to you. And I think you've made some missteps. I think if you come out and you say, yeah, some people have done me wrong, but guess what? I've made some missteps and I'm learning and I'm willing to come to the table and I'm willing to have some really tough conversations. And I want to put my shit on the table if they're willing to put theirs on the table. Leave the money stuff out of it. Warm up to it. Let's aim for 1%. Baby steps, baby. Baby steps. Because you putting a lot on the table. You want apologies. You want money. You want to go $2 million a year. And it's been 10 years. Monique, come on now. You're making it impossible. Impossible. What are y'all's thoughts? I appreciate her being open about sexual abuse that's rampant in the Black community, the African American community. I appreciate her not dressing it up and saying, F my family. They failed me. They failed to protect me as a young Black girl. They stood and held the line for my brother when he was molesting me and sexually abusing me. That's what we need, Monique. Channel that energy to really make a difference in the community. Come off of Tyler and Oprah. All that stuff will take care of itself. Go where you're needed the most and see what impact you can make on that side and what opportunities you can land on that side. Let's really start to expand the dialogue to what really matters most. And that's sexual abuse in the Black community, misuse of power, sexual exploitation, all of that stuff that's going on, not just with children, but shit, it's happening to men and women in Hollywood. Let's see what else. I get the point that Monique's attempting to make, but it comes across as very self-serving. She talked about when you see Black women like Viola and Taraji, you don't see their men with them. You know, you ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to do all that. You ain't got to attack while making a point. So that's all I got for this interview. Very, very good interview. Excellent interviewer. I really enjoyed it. It took me some time to warm up and thaw out. But when I really got when I just sat back and listened, it was beautiful. It was her beautiful. Not necessarily my beautiful or your beautiful. It was her beautiful truth with some opportunity mixed into it. What are your thoughts? Let's talk about it and take it to the chat.